featuring Will Gavin and Master Tesfatian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
I will stay calm. I will stay calm. I will stay calm. I won't stay calm. England are playing in the knockouts of the World Cup today. I'm so excited. The Usmnt in action. England are in action. And you're watching the S Word, sponsored by Calci. I'm Will Gavin. The great Master Tesfatian is live and direct from Los Angeles, California. And
nobody cares about England, Will. Today is all about the USA. All the way. Enough with your nonsense, your propaganda. Today is about the host nation taking over and winning a knockout game.
It's all about both nations getting through so we can celebrate the 4th of July together in beautiful harmony, right? That's the idea.
Wait, listen, we always celebrate the 4th of July. I speak for myself when I say that. I don't know about you, but we have a reason to celebrate the 4th of July. I don't know about the English.
I'm going to come on air on whatever day, it's Friday, Saturday, and just be like, happy Turncoat Day, everybody. Look, we've got a sensational show coming up for you today. What a night of football it was last night. The French just moving into just second gear and yet looking better than any team we've seen maybe on the international stage in the last 20 years. Absolutely sensational. Norway getting past the Ivory Coast. Are they a real threat? Like, people start taking this Norway team properly seriously now. And a brilliant game in Mexico in front of a cauldron of a fan base last night as Mexico got past Ecuador. We're going to get into all of those. We've got a great lineup of guests coming on. Flex will join us from Mexico, as will talkSPORT's lead commentator on that game, Joe Shennan. We've got the great Alex Goldberg joining us to talk USMNT. We'll hear from Christian Pulisic from inside the camp. Ben Jacobs has been speaking with him as well. All coming up for you right here on the S Word, sponsored by Calci. Come on the USA as well, I guess. It's a weird vibe right today because it's such a
weird.
Different.
It's a great vibe.
Yeah, I mean, no,
vibe.
God, don't get me wrong. A wonderful vibe. I am ready. I'm here. The energy is high. I'm so excited for the next. Well, let's say America kickoff, the USMNT kickoff in 12 hours, as we are live right now at 8 a.m. Eastern, right? So that is like, you've got time to build, you've got time to think about it. You've got two great games to watch before then. Belgium-Senegal looks like it's going to be an absolute banger as well. Like, really, really great on paper. England-Congo might not be a great game. It might be a tense game. It might be a real possibility of an upset there. So for our US fans, there's a long way to go. For us, it's like we do the show and then 2 hours after we're on air is kickoff. Like, I need to get out of here, edit and upload the show, get everything ready to go, get on social media and get down to the table that we've reserved at a bar near our studios in London Bridge. I got to have at least a couple of drinks before we start because I can tell you already, I'm like, I've been so positive about this the whole time. I am so trusting in Thomas Tuchel, but the nerves are coming in a little bit. The nerves are coming in just a little bit. Classic pessimism on the other side of the glass isn't helping things, Master. I've got to say.
Listen, I can't relate. I'm very confident. I'm very comfortable. I like what I'm hearing from Team USA so far to this point. They are the favorites. They should operate as the favorites. I'm not sleeping on Bosnia-Herzegovina at all. In fact, I have a tremendous amount of respect for them, and I've had respect. I've had respect for them all tournament long, you know. But we're not doing what Italy did, and we weren't praying and hoping that we would face them. So I think Bosnia-Herzegovina, from the comments that they've had, I think they're well understanding of that, and they feel the same way I do about Tim Howard. So, you know, I think we're on the same page here so far.
What I do need from you, Master, just very quickly, though, if you're all right, because we have got to edit the show and get it out afterwards. So if we could just, if you could, like kiss the badge or something like that, like do some kind of celebration or give me, like,
there is no badge on that kit.
Yeah, just give me the two-handed fist bump to the thing.
Come on, US.
There's our thumbnail for today. Perfect. I can screenshot that and post it. Thank you very much.
I'm doing what I can, Will, so you can be in complete agony for 90 and perhaps 120 minutes. And maybe penalties.
If we could do that every day just to make my life easier, that would be wonderful. I'm not going to lie at all.
This is one time.
So, by the way, also, we've got Angelina Kelly, friend of the show. She's joining us live from Kev Egan's bar in Atlanta ahead of England playing today.
We made that happen really fast, by the way. It's like 2-3 days ago he invited us out, and all of a sudden we're there.
It's make magic happen. So she's going to join us from there, and the great Erik Bielderman as well, talking about that France performance last night. So we're going to keep our powder dry on France until Erik joins us, and we're going to look back, starting last night with that Mexico game. Here's how a phenomenal night of World Cup football sounded on talkSPORT.
Bob with an excellent ball into the area. Patrick Berg finding Haaland, and Erling Haaland may have won it. And Erling Haaland, as ever, on the fringes of the game, but when it really matters, he is on the end of things. Ivory Coast played so well, but when you've got Erling Haaland on your team, you always have a chance.
Olise slipped it through. They're in here, and it's Mbappe again. Magnificent. A second for Mbappe. Olise sparkling again. Who is going to stop them? It's France 3, Sweden 0.
Welcome to the Mexican Coliseum. Mexico and the Azteca is a World Cup spectacle you will struggle to match. Quinones goes on! Viva Mexico! Quinones again, Raul Jimenez again! It's two! Magnificent! Can you believe it? Thunderous noise of the Azteca!
Yeah, that's how you heard it all live on talkSPORT. A brilliant night of round of 32 football for you across the talkSPORT network, and now here live on the S Word. Let's react to last night's action. We're going to talk with Erik Bielderman about France. You heard Joe Shennan there. We'll talk some Mexico with him as well. But let's start off with the action in the Azteca last night, where it was a game where I think everyone went into this going, the Ecuador backline have been absolutely fantastic this tournament, and came into the tournament with us knowing it was their strength, right? Full of stars. They were going to be a team who were going to be resolute. We were wondering where their goals were going to come from. Mexico have defended brilliantly. They've been very fluid in their formation. They've changed up the tactics, and they've been so solid. And we're all like, this could be tense. This could be tight. You know, goalless at half-time, maybe somebody nicks it, extra time and penalties wouldn't be a surprise. And Master, they came out and they both went great guns at each other. Who knows if the lightning delay for an hour did it? Who knows? But it was just brilliant, beautiful, open, flowing football. And one of the first quarter of this game, there you go, I'll give you one, was one of the best I've watched in this whole tournament so far. Really great.
That first half, that was one of the best half performances we've seen in this World Cup. And Mexican fans and myself are both asking, where did this come from? Where did this energy, where did this intensity? They came out the gate just coming swinging. Even despite the lightning delay, even despite the fact that it was the latest game of the evening, it did not matter. They fed off of the 87,000 people in Stadium Azteca. That is why we have constantly talked about how that place is a fortress, in a place that you do not want to face Mexico in a major competition, because you will not walk away with the victory. You just will not. And this was a team going into it that Mexican fans actually feared. They did not want to face Ecuador, Will. This was a nation that could understand how to face Mexico, could deal with the crowd, could deal with the altitude, could deal with the intensity of this match, of this magnitude. And Mexico clearly lived up to the moment, and Ecuador came out just flat-footed. They were completely drawn out of positions. They in terms of the structure and the defensive prowess that we've talked about with Ecuador, in those first 30-45 minutes, they just looked completely out of funk. And all credit goes to Mexico. They executed their game plan flawlessly. And again, whether the lightning delay had something to do with it, whether the fans the night before keeping the Ecuadorian national team up all night as they were celebrating, hell, they're probably still celebrating, Wills. I saw the footage and videos going all across Mexico and all across the United States. Mexican fans have a reason to celebrate, though. This is their first knockout win in 40 years, Will, and this has been something that has been a huge emphasis among Mexican fans trying to get on board. Before this World Cup, we were talking about how the Mexican fans, all they needed was a reason to believe. And this, without a shadow of a doubt, if you didn't see it from the reaction before the match or after the match, Mexican fans are on board. They're connected with this club. They're connected with this nation, with this team. And that is very dangerous and very scary for their future opponents, because this is a level of energy right now that is contagious, and it's very hard to see any nation trying to stop Mexico at this point.
Well, listen, we'll be speaking with both Flex and Joe Shennan, who Flex was on the streets of Mexico at the watch parties last night. Joe Shennan in that stadium, you heard his voice in commentary there. The competitive record for Mexico at the Azteca, now 10 World Cup games there, unbeaten. 70 wins from 89 games. They've only been defeated at their home stadium twice in their history. And from an England fan's perspective, because obviously if we get past Congo tonight, and that's no guarantee by any stretch of the imagination, that is where England would have to head next. And less so the history, and definitely the fan base a huge part of this because of how amazing they were last night. But actually watching what Mexico put on the pitch last night, when I think back to the first game of this tournament, where they looked a yard off the pace, where they looked like particularly slow going forward. They weren't great in transition, to this team that we saw last night. That, I mean, Quinones looks like an absolute superstar. Obviously top scorer in Saudi, but not a guy that coming into this tournament maybe we were going to be relying on. They have changed tactically and really, really like the quick builds from the back, throwing four into the front, constantly loading into the box. Like, they are so exciting to watch all of a sudden. And so I don't know, that would be something.
They're starting a 17-year-old.
Well, this was what I was going to get onto. Gilberto Mora. A star is truly born last night for me, because we came into this tournament knowing that he was seen as maybe the future of Mexican football. Someone who could be a star, someone who has had an impact in Liga MX already at just 17 years old. But this kid is the youngest player to play in a knockout stages since Pele in 1958. The youngest player in this World Cup by a country mile. And he made Moises Caicedo, a £100 million midfielder, one of the best in the world at his position, and he had him in his pocket all night long. He's so calm, he's so poised and composed on the ball. The way he picks out his passes, like, he had such awareness and such vision of what everyone around him's doing, and it's that pick it up, give it, pick it up, give it, and always seem to be those killer balls. He made created two chances. He had 4 passes in the final third, which were killer balls, as they're known as. He won the duels, he won the fouls. Like, he just was doing absolutely everything in that midfield. And you're sitting there going, this looks like, somebody in their prime at 27, 28 years old who's playing in their 3rd World Cup. This is, Jude Bellingham's played in 4 major tournaments for England, and this is what we see from him. And this kid's 17 years old and looks like an absolute superstar already. Just wonderful performance from Mora.
And credit to Javier Aguirre, because he has come in and brought and rejuvenated this Mexican side, and for him to trust a 17-year-old in such a huge spot here, and knowing that he would deliver and giving him the opportunity and the faith and the confidence to do so, Javier Aguirre has truly transformed the Mexican national team into a place where they
mad on a 3rd stint doing it as well. Like, it's
seriously
the godfather of Mexican football at this point.
Yeah, he is, and well-deservedly so, because it was desperately needed. Just a couple years ago, looking at the last World Cup, and obviously it's been quite some time since they've been able to win a knockout game, and Javier Aguirre has been able to provide that for them. But there's one thing I will hold. Everyone's been talking about how the curse is over. The curse is over. They've gotten through. They've won a knockout game. For me, though, with Mexico, this was a huge accomplishment. I am not dismissing beating Ecuador, all the celebrations. They're probably still going on here in LA right now as it is at 5:15 a.m. All the celebrations completely justified. However, Mexico's barrier has always been the round of 16. Okay, yes, of course it was 1-1. It was tied in terms of winning a knockout game, getting past the round of 16 prior to this expanded tournament. Now that we've added the round of 32 this year, I get it. It's a completely different tournament. However, their barrier to me, in my mind, is still the round of 16. Mm-hmm. And that to me would be a huge achievement, and would be a huge signal of the quote-unquote curse being broken if they're able to get past the round of 16, which, whether it is the DR Congo or whether it is England, I fully expect Mexico to do so. And if that's the case, if you thought that celebration was insane last night going into this morning, I can only imagine what's going to happen all across Mexico, all across the United States, once
you're in
Mexico passes through to the quarterfinals.
You're in Los Angeles. I imagine that the Mexicans, like, huge Mexican population in California, in Southern California in particular, I imagine that, like, we saw those amazing scenes, and we'll talk with Flex about this and show you some videos a little later on of some of those scenes in Mexico itself. But I imagine that it was mass fiesta in Los Angeles last night.
It was, and I knew it would be, and that's why I stayed home, because I saw the scenes last night, and Will, I'm a little bit older now, so I like to have a good time. I love my siesta, but so there's certain times where you start seeing cars doing donuts in the middle of the streets, and some of these quote unquote unlawful gatherings, and it's time for me not to be there, But it looked amazing on obviously the local news, and everyone had chopper footage and watching that all throughout the night in terms of all the celebrations going across all of Los Angeles. And it was well deserved. And I was there in LA for the opener watching Mexico, South Africa, and the gathering that they had at 12 o'clock Pacific time, where 80,000, 90,000 Mexican fans were all gathered together in South Central LA crowding around BMO Stadium and the Coliseum. It truly shows the passion and the pride that Mexican fans have. And again, I love the momentum. I love all the joy and the growth of the sport here in the United States, but it's incomparable when you're seeing Mexican fans celebrating throughout the night off of a round of 32 matchup. It pales in comparison in terms of the most passionate fan base, the most passionate. You throwing on the sombrero again?
Listen, baby. This is the last time I'm going to wear it.
Come on. You're wearing a sombrero with it. For those watching, listening on SiriusXM, he is wearing a sombrero with an England kit on. And
if I was going to the game in Mexico, I'd wear the sombrero, I'd wear the poncho, and I'd wear the England shirt. Absolutely. No problem with it whatsoever. Love it. Mas fiesta, baby. Mas fiesta.
That may be who you may be. That may be your opponents.
Listen, I can stop wearing it tomorrow. That's fine. I'll just...
No, I mean, don't worry. You'll have to wear it tomorrow because England's going to get eliminated, so don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Don't you worry about that by any stretch of the imagination. You can get in touch with us on YouTube. We are at talkSPORT S-Word and at talkSPORT. So, look, saying England might be the Democratic Republic of Congo, but think about Mexico in the Azteca. That's going to be unreal. Shifty Lad says, Andrew might just get in touch saying, hi, people. We're getting some people throwing up the old... in the chat as well.
Yeah. Mr. Top of the morning.
Mr. 420 UK, I don't know what those numbers mean by any stretch of the imagination, says England beat Mexico, no doubt. No doubt. After you watched that performance last night. You've got no doubt England beat Mexico. That is strong. And the wonderful, Mika gets in touch.
There's no doubt in my mind Mexico's going to beat England.
There you go.
If it comes out.
There you go.
There's no doubt.
Mika gets in touch. He's throwing up the Stars and Stripes. He's throwing up the Eagles. He's ready for the US today.
Come on!
And Patio Joe, the wonderful Patio Joe says, good morning, boys. Today is the day. English breakfast in the morning, then the main event. Can this team handle being the first team in the country that expects the USMNT to win a knockout game? It's expectation now. It's not hope. It's not belief. It's expectation now. We'll talk about the USMNT later this hour.
Swap out that English breakfast for a nice American breakfast, baby. Get you some real bacon.
Get some waffles. Get some pancakes.
Get some pancakes, you know?
I'll tell you what, actually, Sam, that's what we should do tonight. We should watch England beat Congo. We should get some waffles for Belgium, and then we should get some pancakes for the America game, and just go through a culinary journey whilst also having a few drinks as we're enjoying ourselves.
So what are you going to get for England? Are you going to eat a pie? What do we get?
I think actually we go to a place that does wings, so it's not very English of us, but it's in America, right? So we were embracing the American culture. Yeah, exactly.
I guess pints count as English?
Yeah.
Is that...
Pints count as English. Although I'm probably going to be drinking Guinness. So. I'll be drinking my Irish beer, wearing my shirt that definitely wasn't made in this country, eating my American wings, and watching my football team beat the snot out of DR Congo. I hope, at least.
Oh!
We'll preview that game as well. Don't you worry. Oh! Right, coming up next. Oh! The French last night. Boy, the French last night. C'est magnifique. That was sensational. Erik Bielderman is on the show up next. And can anyone beat them when they're playing like they did against Sweden last night? This is the S-Word.
The S-Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion
from talkSPORT. presents
The S Word.
high-energy exchanges, fiery fan reactions, and the biggest football debate.
The S Word.
From talkSPORT.
You're back with the S Word here on talkSPORT. Will Gavin in London, Master Tesfatian in Los Angeles, the USMNT in action later tonight. Alex Goldberg will be here shortly to preview that with us. Plus, we'll have Christian Pulisic to hear from, talking with Ben Jacobs. We'll preview that game. We'll preview England as well with Angelina Kelly, who's live in Atlanta. And that game kicking off in just a few short hours' time. And plus, in the second hour of the show, we've got the great Flex joining us from Mexico, Flexico as we're now calling him. Joe Shennan, talkSPORT's matchday commentator, who was there at the Azteca last night as well. But so far, there's been a lot of mass fiesta. What about the Fête Française last night?
Dembele finding Mbappe in the area. Mbappe, sensational, absolutely magnificent. Shennan, languid stride, comes forward, finds Olise, moving through the gears, pokes it through, and that is a superb second goal. Bradley Barcola.
A very typical French goal. It's deja vu, really is, for France.
Olise slipped it through. They're in here, and it's Mbappe again. It's France 3, Sweden 0.
I'm not sure who can stop this team scoring. So comfortable.
A man who has spent part of his career playing his football in the south of France there, of course, Tony Cascarino, alongside our very own Kev Hatchard. Kev, for the first goal, go with a magnificent instead of a magnifique, though. Come on, Kev. Give us a little bit of that je ne sais quoi. Give us a bit of that flair, please. Master, just before we get to our guest, what we saw from that French team last night, I was raving about it, and I came in today and someone was like, no, I thought it was still good, but still not at their best level. That's terrifying. If that's second gear, what does fifth gear look like?
Yeah, they could have won 5-6-0 pretty easily. They absolutely dominated that match, and yeah, kudos to them. In terms of where Sweden was at, I think it was a huge accomplishment for Sweden to make it into the knockout stage, considering where their World Cup qualification performances fared, how they fared leading up to this World Cup. But it was very clear, despite both of these nations playing in UEFA, there was a vast superiority in terms of what France could offer on the pitch compared to what Sweden could do. And yeah, it is terrifying for their next opponent, because they're going up against a Paraguayan side that, as defensively as well as they have been throughout this tournament, and particularly against Germany, they're going up against a behemoth that they've probably never seen in their life before.
Well, there's 2 goals for Kylian Mbappe, 1 for Bradley Barcola, a 3-0 win for France over Sweden. Let's welcome in our next guest. C'est magnifique. He is a man who absolutely embodies that from head to toe. The wonderful Erik Bielderman is here. Erik. Bonjour. How are you, my friend?
Happy man, over the moon, but still realistic, miles away from the final and the title, but happy man today.
Listen, Erik, when I talked about this French side yesterday, I said they've been the best team in the tournament, but I have, France here, and then just a step down to, Argentina, England second half against Croatia, Spain at their best. I didn't see the gap as that big. I now can't get that gap on the screen anymore after watching France last night. I thought they were sensational.
Yeah, I would be a happy man to believe you, but football is a versatile sport. You know that not always the best team wins, not always the strongest and the most offensive team wins. So we have to be cautious. We have the most exciting team from the last 30 years. If we come back to our football, we need to go back to 1980s with Michel Platini, or 1990s, 2000 with Zinedine Zidane. Now we have Olise, we have Mbappe. Every 30 years or every 20 years, we do have magical team. But remember, 1982 with Platini, 1986 with Platini, the French team was by far, I guess so. I remember it. I'm old enough to remember it. Sorry, gentlemen. But we were due to win the World Cup, and we didn't. Remember 82 when France got beaten by Germany with Schumacher and all. I know it's all story, but we have that in mind. We know that we have lost World Cup like Holland in 1974 against West Germany. So when you are my age and with the experience of having so many World Cup on stage, you know that you have to keep your mind clear, positive, but realistic.
And it's understandable having that sentiment, Eric. And we were both kind of, uncertain about Kylian Mbappe leading up to this tournament. But
yeah,
if there's one thing that I guess you can kind of feel certain and confident about at this point is that Kylian is doing everything he can to make sure that France wins this World Cup again.
Yeah, I must say that we are completely happy, more than happy to see Kylian Mbappe working for the team, being like if he is on a mission. He's on a mission to be the leading man, but not what we could have feared at a certain stage earlier in the tournament, playing for himself. Of course, if he can be the best goal scorer of the tournament and the best goal scorer of the historical of the World Cup after Klose and fighting with Messi, he will be the happiest man to do it. But it's obvious that after what he has not achieved with Real Madrid, what he is achieving at the moment for France is like he's dedicated to bring the World Cup to France, to bring the World Cup to Didier Deschamps, because there is something happening in the group. They know that Didier Deschamps is having his last tournament. They know that he has achieved and given to the players in the last 20 years as a manager of club or manager of French team so many positive attitudes, so many trophies and finals and so on. They need to pay him back. And also that he has lost last week his mother. When you look, when they score goals, when you look the after game, there is something like it's above what we call it union. It's faithfulness.
I think that's amazing to think about as well, because there's so much magic on the field from this team. But if you have something like that, if you have that certain extra element, that certain driving force that's only going to take your story and make it even more. I tell you what terrifies me, Eric, about this, and shout out to the great Adam Cleary, who does stuff with us here at talkSPORT and does the Adam Cleary football show. He brought these stats up last night. But France are 44th out of 48 teams when it comes to distance covered in this World Cup so far. They're bottom 10 in terms of sprinting. In terms of minutes played this season, I mean, he gave the example that Morgan Rogers played nearly 4,600 minutes this season, that Desiree Doué and Usmnt Dembele only played 4,700 between them this year. They look so fresh. They look like they never have to run to get onto anything. It's so fluid. It's so simple. And it's like they're winning at a walking pace. It's like they're doing it without having to get up into that gear. And that's what I'm saying scares me, is that, if they're actually having to push and try against a team, what are they going to end up doing?
Yeah, you're right. When you said 2 minutes ago that there is first gear, second gear, and what they have shown against Sweden is like a car in the second gear, and there is more to be and more to come. This is quite obvious. And Dembele, for instance, have been injured several times during the season, and is a freshman. Doué and Barcola, whatever it is, with Paris Saint-Germain or with the French team, they share the minutes of play. Also, some of the players with the Paris Saint-Germain spirit, with the education given by Luis Enrique, plus the education given by Didier Deschamps, two great attitude managers, that also brings something to the team. We are not used to be dominant in Europe as a club. We are now with Paris Saint-Germain. This is for us something very strange, to be the king of the Europe and the king of the world in terms of football club. Now this culture of clubs, some players do bring it. Mbappe also have had it when he was with Paris Saint-Germain, bring it to the national team. So the mixture is absolutely gorgeous.
It has been, and it's been beautiful to see. And, as much praise as we are giving Mbappe, having Michael Olise at the focal, the engine, the brains of this team. We've been so accustomed to seeing Antoine Griezmann in this role when we've seen France shine in the international stage. But what Olise doing and the connection he has with Mbappe and other teammates is just, it's breathtaking. It truly is magical.
Yeah, it's magical, and he's creating passes which doesn't exist. There is only one player in the world who has shown it in the last 20 years. It's Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi, for ages, does create chances for his teammates that no one can see before it. Now we have Olise, who was yesterday and against Senegal and other games. He has created chances. And when you create impossible pass to a player like Mbappe, of course, it's something that you finish by scoring goals, because you have the most gifted with Lionel Messi delivery guy and the most killing instinct player with Mbappe. And when these two are not working together, you have Marco Laudoué on the left side, you have Dembele on the right side when he's in the mood, Dembele. So, and look at the bench. We can have Cherki. We can have a player like, I forgot the name, the one from Crystal Palace, Mateta. Mateta, when you need to, we are 1-0 down. We need to go in the box for the last 15 minutes, corner, free kicks. This guy can come in. He's a completely another style of football guy, but we need to go in the air, score goals. We have another opportunity to show something completely different up front.
Does anyone scare you, Eric? If I look at your side of the draw, let's just say the top seeds go through.
He said that so fast.
Yeah. We. You can say we. You can listen. You look at the top. You look at the top side of the draw, and let's just say the top seeds go through. The teams we'd expect to win. We're talking about Morocco, Spain, and then a final against one of Argentina. I mean, I'm going to throw England out there, Brazil. Like, if I watched that France team last night, I kind of feel like they've got to be the favourites against any of them.
Of course, we can't deny to be the favorite of what we have shown in terms of offensive football. Then, if we talk about the fear or the respect we do have for opponent, first, I would say Argentina. Why so? Because Argentina has a quite easy drive to the final compared to us. Then Argentina having Lionel Messi, and also Lionel Messi, like Mbappe, is on a mission. Then they have beaten us 4 years ago, and I don't believe in terms of revenge and something. They have beaten us, even if it's on penalty kick. But for 80 minutes on the final 4 years ago, they killed us. They killed us, and Mbappe saved us from disaster. Of course, behind that, Morocco is a strong team and is a team for special reason that if they can beat France in the quarter, they will do it with a meaningful for their population to beat France for historical reasons. That's something that we have to take in perspective. And then in the semi-final, we're gonna play Spain with the problem of the balance of the French team. The French team is absolutely gorgeous, but we do play with only two midfield. And we are used to play for the last 15 years with Didier Deschamps, and before it, with three working class midfield. Against Spain, you can be brilliant up front, but if you lose the battle of the midfield and you don't get access to the ball and the clean balls, I'm sure you are in big trouble. So, yes, I'm optimistic, but many answers to get a clue who is gonna beat us.
Eric, wonderful stuff.
Real quick, one quick question for you, Eric, before we go. As you talk about this midfield, are you reading much into this Ryan Cherki, Didier Deschamps situation? What do you think of this? I know there's been some reaction coming off the match and some post reactions in terms of their behaviors and their body gestures and their body movements. You talk about how you're playing with two midfielders, and obviously at some point you're going to need Ryan Cherki to make a difference at some point in the knockout stage. Do you read anything into this Cherki, Didier Deschamps discussion going on online in terms of any sort of spat that's happening between the two?
Short answer, Ryan Cherki must think who is he compared to the other players who are first choice. Then he has to say who I am in terms of experience of world football as a international players compared to Didier Deschamps' stamina and Didier Deschamps' experience. So he's there to learn, he's there to go for a trophy, and even if he's having short of time to play, believe me, behave, because this is Didier Deschamps, this is France, this is the World Cup. This is not Cherki ego's problem.
Wonderful stuff, Eric. Thank you so much for your time. Always brilliant.
Appreciate it, Eric.
We love Erik Bielderman around here so much. Like, I know we say nice things about Michael Lahoud and those guys, but our favourite European guest, undoubtedly, I think.
He was so quick. Is there anyone to fear? He's like, yes.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay.
Without any hesitation.
So funny. I want to quickly want to talk about, because we've got to preview the USMNT. It's obviously a huge story for our fan base, but across the tournament as well. So we've got that coming up with Alex Goldberg, and we'll do our own preview of it with Christian Pulisic as well. Just a mention of Norway, Ivory Coast last night, because it was the opening game, and I think it's now maybe between that French performance and the cauldron of Mexico, it's maybe being forgotten about a little bit. But another really great game of football, and like huge swings in momentum in this game. I thought Ivory Coast almost right up until the goal, maybe 5 or so minutes beforehand, the opener looked like by far the better team. That came really against the run of play. Is it too simple to say that this Norway side with the talent they've got can just be so clinical? Were Ivory Coast wasteful? How are you feeling about that after the game?
I thought that was a fantastic performance. It was a flip of a coin. I gave the slight edge to Ivory Coast before this match, but kudos to Norway. They found a way, and really a truly beautiful goal that was created by Oscar Bob, a great decision bringing him off the bench that led to Erling Haaland's goal. And you talked about them kind of going under the radar. And again, this is Erling Haaland's first World Cup. We haven't seen Norway on the stage in quite some time. So there's good reason to underestimate them. But I kind of feel like people are just underestimating Erling Haaland too. When I was at the USA-Paraguay match, Jerry McCain was asking, very generic questions about soccer. And he was asking, hey, is Erling Haaland still one of the best players in the world? And I said, yeah, of course he is. Everyone else around me was like, no, he's not. And I'm like, what? Because people have kind of minimized him because all he does is score goals, that he hasn't become this well-rounded striker that can drop back, that can play like a Harry Kane. And I'm over here thinking, this guy is literally one of the best, if not arguably the top 2 goal scorers in the world. And he does the most important thing that you can do on a pitch better than just about anybody else can outside of Kylian Mbappe and maybe Lionel Messi. So for those that have kind of been underestimating Erling Haaland because of how last season went with Manchester City, I think he's proven in this World Cup once again that do not underestimate him. He's still one of the best in the world. And the simple fact that people felt like he wasn't who he is, considering how he came into the Premier League and how he set the whole world ablaze, he is still that dude. Erling Haaland is still him. And don't you ever forget that. And he's showing that once again in this World Cup.
It was a shame from an Ivory Coast perspective. I didn't hate the changes that they made and the way that they controlled possession in the first half, but you saw the impact Amad Diallo had off the bench, not just the goal, but he just completely lifted that team and could have maybe come earlier, should have maybe started the game is a good kind of talking point. On the Haaland thing, when you want to talk about, does he do the same stuff as Kane? You want to talk about him dropping deep and picking the ball up and supplying the lines. I don't think he's the same kind of player, but if you ever just get a chance to, when you see their movement in the box, but either player in the 18-yard box, and the way that they can drift off to the back post super early, and somehow every time they're there in front of the defender, and how they've suddenly just transported themselves from 8 yards further back than they were to being the first person to meet the cross. Both those guys are better than anyone in the world at doing it, and it's how they score so many of their goals outside of, the speed of Erling Haaland, how good he is on the break. It's kind of underrated because he's this striding, long-legged, he's not kind of this quick burst speed, but he gets such momentum up over distance. He can just be box to box in a heartbeat, in a blink. And so, yeah, he will always be a fear. And actually, I've got to say, for as much as Martin Odegaard has been someone who over the last 2 years, Arsenal fans have been very up and down on, I think fairly, I think his performances have indicated that. I thought Odegaard was sensational last night. He really pulled the strings. He obviously got the assist for the first goal, but throughout that game, he was that one presence in the Norway midfield, even when Ivory Coast were being dominant, even when they were the ones who held the majority of the possession, who was just putting a foot on it, finding the right pass, setting up all the attacks. And so I'd love to have seen the Ivory Coast go further, but I think Norway cause a problem for people. I really do.
Let's also that assist at Odegaard. He didn't really have to do much. I mean, Newson did everything.
It's still an assist. Hey,
it is still an assist. I'm not here to discredit my Arsenal brethren. I'm not here to discredit my Arsenal brethren, but Newson did all the work. What a goal that was! What a curler that was! And it really came out of nowhere and really broke this game open for Norway and gave them the advantage at a time when I felt like Ivory Coast was outplaying them. So yeah, unfortunate for Ivory Coast. Had a good performance against Germany, couldn't get a result from that. Had a good performance against Norway, couldn't get a result from that. There's an argument to be made. They maybe deserved a bit more from this World Cup, but nevertheless, it's a knockout stage. Norway's advancing, and Brazil versus Norway.
Round of 16.
Oh, come on. We get Erling Haaland versus Gabriel on the World Cup stage. Vinicius Jr. versus Haaland. Oh, it's going to be a good one.
Give it to me. Give it to me this weekend, July the 5th. Listen, that's going to be the same night as Mexico against either England or DR Congo as well. So,
the confidence is fading as the show goes.
Same night as Mexico against England.
You need a hydration break here. I think you need a hydration break.
Let's take a hydration break right here because Alex Goldberg joins us. If I'm doing pessimism, the man that we know does pessimism for the USMNT.
Hopefully he's on board now.
Next. Come on.
Hopefully he's on board.
Get on board, Alex. This is the S Word sponsored by Calci.
Bringing all the biggest football debate.
Stateside.
The S Word
From talkSPORT.
talkSPORT presents
The S Word.
Listen again and subscribe.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
And on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel.
That's my impression of Goldberg exiting the room. Goldberg. I don't know why I made it so operatic in English. That was bizarre, but you're welcome back to the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi. You can tell we're high energy today, ready for England to be in action in just a few hours' time, for the USMNT to be in action in just under 11 hours' time, for a great game between Belgium and Senegal in between those two. We'll preview the USMNT coming up. We'll be joined by Angelina out in Atlanta. We'll be joined by our team in Mexico as well to look back on the action from last night a little bit further. But that music does mean that only one man can be entering the show to talk some USMNT and maybe a little bit of Chelsea as well. It's the wonderful broadcaster Alex Goldberg is with us. Goldberg, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great, guys, and what an intro. I got goosebumps. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Listen, Alex, maybe in the group stage after the first game, you were asking your countrymen to take a touch, keep it calm, little early. Are you starting to just buy in? Is the bandwagon got you yet?
All right, so let me at least start off by being positive, and I'll say I'm excited for this evening. 8 p.m. Eastern, it's hot out, but it's going to be nice to watch a game outside. I'm excited for the game, all right? Now you're going to get the true Alex Goldberg. What do you mean in terms of am I buying in? Like buying into what? Like the USA winning it all, or like winning tonight and seeing what can happen in the next round? Because if it's the latter, sure, I think the USA will win tonight, and I'm excited to watch them do so.
Just, are you in or not? Yes or no? Are you in or not? At this point, are you in or not, Goldberg? Are you on the board? Are you on the bandwagon? Or are you not? Okay, it's very simple. Yes or no question. Are you on the bandwagon? Are you with us? Or are you not? This pragmatic stuff at this point, just throw it out the window. Are you with us? Are you Tim Howard? Or are you Clint Dempsey? That's the question that needs to be asked.
Well, I was never a goalkeeper, so I'm definitely Clint Dempsey. But, all right, like I'm in terms of I'm excited. But again, what does in mean? Like we can win it all? We can't. But can we maybe go to the last 8? I think so. Sure.
Yes. Will, is that enough? Is that enough? Do you feel he's on board?
It's not me. Yeah,
I'm not.
If he was an Englishman,
I need an arbitrator here to kind of come and jump on board. Is he on board? Because he found the most He found the most worded way to say I kind of am. I'm not sure yet.
If he was if he was an Englishman, Master, that would be the most positive and optimistic I think I've heard any Englishman ever be about an England game ahead of it being like that's. And you've got to realise, like we were so cocky after the Croatia game, right? We were so ready for them to be absolutely sensational. Then we saw 2 slightly dud performances, and now we're all... You come into the studio today, into the office today, and I know it's been trending on X in the last day or so, the modern language of football, apparently pseudo-intellectuals talking about low blocks and everything else. But the number of people I hear talking about that, it's going to take us time to break down the low block if we don't get the early goal, I'm worried about it. Sam on the other side of the glass is already talking about 0-0 and penalties and the tension of it all. I just think he wants to draw out the bar tab and the wings, to be honest with you. Like I am much more positive than all of that, but I appreciate as an Englishman Alex's position on this USMNT. I appreciate that he is a man who has just a little sense of, yes, I'm excited about it, yes, I think it's a game we should win, but I'm also just holding a little bit of space for it not going that way. Alex, when you look at the game tonight, when you look at the threat that Bosnia actually pose to this team, what we saw from them in the early stages, how do you think you match up with Bosnia?
I mean, and I don't mean this as disrespect to Bosnia, right? But like this is not also an insult to the USA, but Bosnia didn't get to this round by doing all that great in group stage, right? Like they beat Qatar 3-1, good, but they absolutely got demolished by Switzerland, as we know, and then they had a 1-0 draw, to Canada. So, I think this is the US's game to control from a possession standpoint. Obviously, take advantage of your chances early. There's going to be chances early. Now, Bosnia might sit behind and be a lot more resolute than the USA want to face, but the longer that's 0-0, the more obviously the belief is going to grow on the Bosnia side, and they're going to be looking to set pieces. I mean, I know Edin Dzeko at this point is about 45 years old, but with that said, like you don't want to obviously give away cheap fouls, get too many corners for Bosnia, where all of a sudden, even if you've been dominating the game, Bosnia 1-0.
Yeah, and they have obviously a lot of size and height advantage here that we've seen the U.S. struggle with in leading up to this World Cup on set pieces. So but that is a huge concern. But yeah, they have to do what they've done consistently throughout this tournament, and that's jumping out early and jumping out ahead in those first 15 minutes are going to be crucial for the United States. Having Pulisic back as well, I guess that's your boy from the Chelsea days. Having him back in the starting 11 though should help the United States quite a bit, don't you think?
No, I do, and I think with Pulisic back, with someone like Balogun, where at this point, if Pulisic wasn't back, and I'm not saying, by the way, that this has been a one-man show, far from it, which is why actually I am in more than I'm not, because I did say, in fairness, the time I was on before, the one positive I really enjoyed from this team so far under Poch is the hunger, right? You go up 1-0, you go up 2-0, you want more. There's that hunger there of like, all right, Balogun's eaten, now let's have someone else. And it's also team football. But I think with Pulisic back, the pedigree he has, the cachet he has, just the attention he demands, even if he's going to be a little bit out of form, right? Like, I mean, that's the thing is obviously now maybe there's no momentum on his side, but you got to honor Pulisic over on that left side, and it should open up things for Balogun and honestly anybody else that wants to get involved in the attack. Like, I'm a big Anthony Robinson guy, and I still don't think we've seen the best of him in this tournament. And if he's overlapping Pulisic, who's coming inside onto his right, I think Anthony can obviously put in some good crosses there, or Jedi, whatever we're going to call him these days. What Tillman and Freeman both have done going forward has been really, really impressive from their respective positions. So I just think Pulisic's sheer presence back in the team is going to make life at least just as easy as it's been. Whereas if he wasn't in, all of a sudden it's like, all right, maybe if they take Balogun out of the game, then no one else knows how to really, get the goal for us.
Yeah, I'm excited for seeing how you attack them. I'm excited to see how you overload them. You talked about that left-hand side and actually having Pulisic cutting inside. I've loved what we've seen from Dest cutting in off the right as well. Like, I think there's a lot to really be positive about. My question is over the areas that Bosnia have strength, their ability from set pieces. We saw, obviously, the goal and then the disallowed goal in a game they probably should have won. And that is an area where, haram ball has become a buzz phrase this season, and teams winning by low blocking and winning off set pieces. Like, Bosnia are as built to do that as almost any team in this competition. Do you think the USA have the strength in defending those set pieces to make sure that threat is nullified?
Well, that's obviously where I'm nervous because, listen, as cultured and experienced as Tim Ream is, he is not necessarily some massive center back who's going to win every aerial duel. And, Freeman, again, this guy has been just as good going forward. And you're not putting him in a Premier League back line to defend corners against giants in that league. Chris Richards has really impressed me just overall. I don't really, from a Premier League sense, rate him all that much just because, you look at Crystal Palace and you look at Mark Guehi and you look at Lacroix. But actually, maybe I've been harsh because that's a decent player right there. But overall, I don't think that one of the strengths of the USA is, how they are in the air, defending set pieces and all that. We've been able to play football, not to sound so simplistic, but it's just been some free-flowing stuff under Poch, and Bosnia is going to just want to make it dirty. Bosnia is going to want to be that team in the Premier League sense or in the English sense where it's, a cold, wet, rainy night at Stoke. That's what they're going to be looking for. And, guys like Edin Dzeko have experience in that type of a setup.
Well, they have no experience on a warm, muggy nights in Santa Clara. Let me tell you what, Alex Goldberg, brother, what are you going to do when the Bay Area runs wild on you?
God.
It's pretty good. That was pretty decent, to be fair. Yeah.
Listen, Chris Richards, he's a very quality player, and he's someone that does make a difference when you're talking about set pieces and defending set pieces. I truly think the one that they conceded against Germany leading up to the World Cup in one of the warm-up matches in the second minute to Kai Havertz, if Chris Richards was on the pitch there, he would have man-marked Kai Havertz, and that goal would have never happened. That is the difference maker that Chris Richards can make defending set pieces. While I do agree with you in terms of Tim Ream, and even questions I still have about Matt Freese, if he can handle sustained pressure, because he really hasn't been tested in this World Cup. That is the one area where, as much as I would love to see the U.S. jump out ahead 1-0, as we've seen time and time again in this tournament, how will they respond if, for whatever reason, Bosnia and Herzegovina jumps ahead 1-0, and we have yet to see that. And that is the one question that I hope is not answered tonight. I hope I don't see it tonight, but that's something that's still, when you talk about this tournament and you talk about all the different scenarios that you have to prepare yourself for, we have yet to see and understand how they will respond to that scenario.
Yeah, and just to like harp again on style, right? Like I think that's the beauty of this World Cup is all these nations kind of have their own style. And now some like France can say, you know what, our style would just be having our ridiculous attack, just go out there and score and score and score. But sometimes you just need to like hone in on who you are. And I think with the US in a game like this, they need to embrace their style of like, listen, we got some ballers here and we should just keep it going. So I'd be a little bit nervous about an early goal, only because, you know, under Poch, I guess I'm not overly nervous the more I think about it, but like look at Japan against Brazil. And I'm not saying that, you know, we're Japan in this analysis, but like Japan score, they go up 1-0. And then the Japan decided, you know what, that's probably as good as we can do scoring wise. Let's now just sit back. And that was just such a detrimental decision because even though Brazil might not be at their absolute top right now, you can't give Brazil that much time to figure out a way to get one goal. And then once it's 1-1, you know what's going to happen. So I think if the U.S. score early, you know, I would trust Poch is not going to say, all right, let's play a little bit more reserved. Because if you do that, then all of a sudden Bosnia is just going to be like, all right, well, you know, we'll find our set piece and eventually we'll get it. So you score early, go for 2. You get 2, go for 3. Like embrace your style.
Love that. Love all of that. Alex, while we've got you, I do want to ask you on Chelsea, obviously the team that you follow and do such a wonderful job covering as well.
Oh, God.
I want to get your impression of the statement they put out about the Enzo Maresca situation. And I think it was very honest and very forthright and something that we don't always see from teams and PR teams. But it also kind of suggested that the reason you didn't get European football last season was because Enzo Maresca left. And that felt like maybe a little bit of finger pointing when there are deeper problems at the club.
I'm so glad you said that, right? Because like from a tribalistic standpoint, no matter how angry we are at our own club, when a coach or a player leaves and they kind of do it in a disrespectful manner, all of a sudden we call them a snake and we get so mad and we blame everything on them. Listen, did Enzo Maresca leave Chelsea in the utmost classy way? No, like obviously not. But this is football. This is done all the time. I'm not defending Maresca, by the way. I'll be down to call him a snake as well. But for Chelsea, right? But that's just because I'm like a tribalistic football fan. But for Chelsea to kind of make that all about Maresca leaving as to why, like you said, they then had a bad season, that is so dismissive. And I'm big on accountability. That's like taking no accountability. Okay. First of all, yes, maybe he always wanted to be Pep's successor, but the only reason why he was extra, let's just say adventurous in talking to City is because you had already made him fairly discouraged by how the summer went when Caldwell went down. You didn't get him a center back. But then also you still had a whole half a season to do something better than what you ended up doing. You had the whole January window in front of you. You chose to do nothing there. And then obviously you hired Liam Senior, who was way out of his depth. So yes, when bad things happen to you, whether you're a club or a person, you can say, oh, that was unfortunate. Oh, I'm unlucky. But then it's on you to just make the most of it. And for Chelsea to once again be like, oh, well, we were derailed by Maresca. We couldn't do anything about it. Like, I got no respect for that.
Master, anything from you?
Well said. Final score. USA. I don't care about Chelsea. Those problems you can deal with another day. I'm here USA all the way. I'm going full baby face, rooting for us, and hopefully you're on board with me, brother. Who you got tonight? What's the score?
This will make you happy. I got USA 3-1, but not particularly close. I think that Bosnia goal might be once it's already 3-0. Maybe it's once it's 2-0, but I think the USA will dominate for at least 70 minutes of the 90.
There we go, Goldberg. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I need to see on this. That's how you start a segment. You come in with that optimism. You come in with that positivity. You come in USA all the way. Come on, we're going to round of 16.
Okay. Yes.
I love you, Goldberg. You're a superstar. The wonderful Alex Goldberg joining us. Brilliant stuff from him.
Thanks.
Joining us here on the S Word. Sponsored by Calcio. I'm Will Gavin. Master Test Facts alongside me. We'll get Master's thoughts on this game. He's going to bring that heat, I reckon, when we start up the next section coming up. Plus, in the next hour, Joe Shennan joins us. He was our matchday commentator for that game last night, that brilliant Mexican performance. Anyone heading there in the round of 16 or beyond should be fearing it. And also, we'll have the brilliant Angelina Kelly joining us from Atlanta ahead of the England game, and Flexico. Flex will be joining us from Mexico as well, where he was at the fan park. So all still to come in this second hour. Come on, England, and I guess come on the Usmnt as well.
The daily deep dive into the world of football.
The S Word
From talkSPORT.
S Word,
featuring Will Gavin and Master Test Fassian.
and a squad of big-name contributors
The S Word.
from talkSPORT.
You're back with the S Word, sponsored by Calci. I'm Will Gavin, Master Test Fatsian alongside me. We are live on SiriusXM. We are live on TuneIn Radio. We are live on YouTube at the S Word and at talkSPORT. And we are available as a podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts as a video. We're on the Fox Soccer app, the Fox One app. We are on Tubi. We are everywhere. So wherever you do watch, wherever you do enjoy the show, please do give us a like, a subscribe, whatever it is, because we love having you. We love the community here. And there are loads of people getting in touch with us on social. Andrew, on the English side of things, says every World Cup there are upsets. To this end, I am backing Mexico to beat England if they do meet. This England has quality in some areas, but some are just dang mediocre. Going a little bit American at the end. Also, someone else calling out American bacon being only about 90% fat and not enough meat there. So, you know,
what's wrong with that?
Some hot takes going on.
What's wrong with that?
Hot takes going on.
Come on.
Tim comes in and says...
Your bacon is not crispy enough in England, okay? All right?
We can make it that
It's a waste
crispy,
of bacon.
understand. It can be made that
but
crispy.
you don't. It's a culinary choice that you guys make. You waste so much bacon every single day, not making crispy enough. Okay? Learn from America on many things, especially bacon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take too many culinary bits of advice from America, but... Tim,
Hey, listen, I saw them English people having a great time here, okay? They're coming back with all that ranch and all the other stuff that they're coming back with, but ranch in particular.
Ranch is fine. Blue cheese is
No,
better.
ranch is great.
Blue cheese is way better than ranch.
No.
You're ridiculous.
No.
Let's get Erik Bielderman on. He'll agree. Blue cheese better than France. Maybe it is.
Better. The fear that blue cheese puts in his eyes going against Le Bleu. Le Blue cheese.
So stupid. I haven't had your thoughts on the USMNT yet, but first of all, I want to hear from Christian Pulisic, who's been speaking with our very own Ben Jacobs out in the media availability ahead of tonight's game with Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah, just with belief and confidence that. To beat whoever's in front of us on that day. I think tomorrow's going to be a really tough battle for us. But we believe in our team and just give it everything that we have. We're going to lay it all on the line, and at the end of however long the game is, we want to be on top.
Christian Pulisic speaking in true Americanisms, full of the cliches. We're going to put everything on the line. We're going to do it all to win. And Master, I know you. You love to hear it.
Listen, speak with all the cliches, keep it straight down the middle. Don't give Bosnia-Herzegovina any sort of bulletin material. Let your performance do all the talking. You've got this entire nation behind you right now. You've got people talking about this sport that I never imagined would ever even care about this sport that are all on board right now, enjoying this World Cup, enjoying the U.S. men's national team performance. This nation is behind you. The people are behind you. We're all supporting this U.S. men's national team, and we're all hoping for the best. All you have to do is give your best performance through 90 minutes. That's it. That's all you have to do, okay? Doesn't matter who's the favorite. Doesn't matter who's the underdog. I know that's been a huge conversation, a topic of discussion here, because in a rare situation, the U.S. men's national team finds himself in a knockout match where they are the favorites against Bosnia-Herzegovina, which typically has not been the case when the U.S. men's national team does make it out of the group stage. But listen, whatever the pressure is, whether because you are the overwhelming betting favorites, whether because you are the host nation and all eyes are upon you and you're going to continue to shatter record viewership all across Fox and all across this beautiful country, tuning in tonight to watch the U.S. men's national team hopefully put up a great performance and move on to the round of 16. Yes, that can feel like a lot of pressure. Embrace the pressure. I have always said there has never been anyone that has ever won anything running away from pressure. Do not run away from the pressure. Lean into the pressure, because I promise you, you will find and unlock a different version of yourself when you do exactly just that. When you run away, that's when you become a coward. That's when you play outside of yourself. And that's when you allow an opportunity like a Bosnia-Herzegovina, who's going to come in with a lot of confidence, who's going to come in knowing that they're the underdogs, and they thrive on that identity of being the underdogs. Historically, their country, considering everything they had to go through just to gain independence, that they are a quote-unquote underdog nation, and it's a beautiful story to see them representing themselves in this knockout stage. Incredibly happy for their people, for Bosnia-Herzegovina to be at this point. They are going to thrive on being the underdog. You have to thrive on the pressure of being the favorite. Don't run away from it. That's what happens when you become a footballing nation and you grow with expectations. You have to grow with them. And I hope they do today, and I hope they answer the calling, and I hope we're talking about a U.S. men's national team tomorrow that's advancing to the round of 16.
You're entering too much hope at the end there. The rest of that, I was so on board with you. You know you're going through to the round of 16, surely. That's the position I want to hear from you, because that's the position they should be approaching it with.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like Tim Howard here, but
I've got to tell you,
there's a belief, of course I have.
Because we've accused you a few times of maybe spending too much time with the team of this show and getting a little bit too English. And I have to say that when we were talking a little bit to Alex earlier, I was hearing, if Richards had been in the team, we wouldn't have conceded that goal. And I'm like, Master's sounding a lot like an English football fan right now. If Frank Lampard's goal had been given, because we had VAR back then, it would have been 2-2 going into half-time. And then, we
I'm
had
talking
the
about
momentum.
a World Cup friendly. You're talking about an actual match that mattered. I'm talking about a World Cup friendly. That I'm saying that's the difference that Chris Richards makes. Listen, it's similar to what Eric is talking about. Eric has every reason to be confident about France. You have more confidence in France than he does. Why? Because that's the World Cup. We're in the knockout stage now. Listen, a fortuitous bounce all of a sudden has you packing your bags. That's just the reality of the situation. I am very confident in the U.S. men's national team. I expect them, and I believe that they will advance into the round of 16. But this is the knockout stage. I'm not delusional of the fact that Bosnia and Herzegovina on the other side, they're a quality opponent. They deserve to be here. I'm going to disagree with what Alex Goldberg said in terms of them being fortunate to be here. I think they deserve to be here, and we'll see what happens over the course of 90 minutes. Hopefully 90 minutes. I hope it doesn't go 120 minutes or penalties, but I truly believe. I believe that we will win, Will. I do.
Give it to me. Give it to me. I believe
that we will win.
Give me some USA. Give me some Charlie. Give me some Eagles. Give me some. Yeah, we need some fireworks. We need a flyover going over. We need all of that. Come on.
I believe in this team. They have brought me so much joy already so far through this World Cup. I've been fortunate enough to go to the USA Paraguay and to the USA Australia match. I don't think I'll be at this match tonight. Truth be told, trying to rest up because I kind of went pretty hard during the group stage. I think I'm going to rest up during this round of 32 and hopefully be back on board with a couple of travels and journeys that I have planned up throughout the round of 16 in the knockout stage. And hopefully, again, the U.S. is a part of those itinerary plans. But again, I understand you have to handle tonight. You have to live up to the expectations, and you have to embrace the pressure of what's about to come tonight in Santa Clara. I believe in this team. I believe in the starting 11. I believe in Pochettino, which, again, was not something I was saying before the World Cup started. I truly believe in the messaging and the tactics and the strategy, what he's doing. Again, this was someone, Will, this predates the show. I wanted Pochettino when we were moving on from Greg Berhalter. I thought this was going to be a great hire. Tactically speaking, I thought he would give us something different, and he truly has. The messaging has been kind of the thing that has kind of been the gap, because English obviously is a second language, and that's something I've had to adjust because, again, we've really never been in this situation before. And so having seen him doing other interviews in Spanish with other interviewers, I can understand the sentiment. I can understand why these players want to run through a brick wall through him, and I can understand why so many players that have either played with him or have been coached by him speak his praises, because you could see the personality, you could see the character, you could see the belief that he can instill in someone, and he's doing that with these players, and kudos to him, because I truly hope it continues on beyond tonight. With the victory, obviously, over Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Absolutely love it from you. Well, listen, it does happen tonight, and tomorrow in the show we'll
Come
be
on, boys!
In a huge
Come on,
way.
boys! Win,
lose, or go to penalties, or wherever it might be. We will be reacting on this show tomorrow. We're here 8 till 10 Eastern every single day. We're live on YouTube. We're across Tubi. We've got so many podcast locations I was telling you about. But up next, we're going to go international. We're going to head. We've already got Los Angeles. We've already got London. We're going to throw a Mexico City into the mix. We're going to throw an Atlanta into the mix as we go and touch base with our talkSPORT reporters worldwide and build up to the action tonight. Look back a little bit on last night. Sponsored by Calci.
Around here, we only use the F word.
talkSPORT presents
the S word. 2 hours of full-on football dialogue.
Every day,
talkSPORT presents
the S Word.
You're back with the S Word, sponsored by Calci. I'm Will Gavin, live in London, live on Sirius XM FM, live on TuneIn Radio, live on YouTube, both at talkSPORT and at the talkSPORT S Word. I've got Master Tesfatian. He is live out in Los Angeles, California, ahead of a huge night of round 32 action. England get underway in just under 3 hours' time. Belgium, Senegal, not long after that, and then the USMNT giving us the...
What a great
You're going to call it the main course. It's like for us, it's going to be the dessert, and maybe actually it's going to be the drinks afterwards. Let's be honest. We'll see how the game with the Congo goes.
It might be breakfast.
Yeah, based on my performance last night, by the way, where I watched the early game, slept through France-Sweden, and then watched the entirety of Mexico-Ecuador. This World Cup is making my body clock absolutely mad, but I'm fine with it because I got to see an absolute banger last night. And we brought you the highlights earlier on. Sensational work, as always, from our matchday commentator at talkSPORT, the wonderful Joe Shennan, who now joins us live from Mexico City. Joe, have you been to sleep yet? That's the big question, because it doesn't seem like a city that got a lot of sleep last night.
Honestly, I don't think anybody's been to sleep, Will. It was astonishing. It was the best atmosphere of any game I can remember, certainly at this World Cup, and genuinely one of the best atmospheres that I've ever come across. The roar when that first goal went in, and the sights, the sounds, people hugging each other, people dancing in the stands. It was the best organised chaos I've ever seen in a football match. It was perfect. And then you get out of the ground afterwards, you're surrounded by an absolute sea of these dark green shirts. Everybody's jumping, everybody's cheering. You got families having little street parties in the middle of the road, and then they're all clamoring to gather for the team bus as it leaves at the end. It was unforgettable.
I'm so jealous. That's experiencing Estadio Azteca, watching a Mexican knockout match. It is truly a sight to behold, especially them winning a knockout match. And I'm going to turn to that first 30 minutes because obviously with the lightning delay, an hour lightning delay, the crowd, the anticipation, as you mentioned, the energy it felt like for that hour, from what I saw, it felt like the crowd just made it one big hour-long party. And it seemed like the Mexican team fed off of that, where Ecuador, surprisingly, they looked a bit flat-footed there to start off with.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that because I actually completely agree. I think the delay seemed to spur the crowd on even more, seemed to build up the atmosphere even more. And I wonder whether the Ecuador players are sitting in the dressing room. Are they thinking, oh, we can't wait to get out on the pitch? Is the tension building in that dressing room? Are they getting more and more nervous as the game builds up? Because it felt like they never really got started. And, they conceded the 2 goals inside the first half an hour. That's fatal to their hopes. I was really disappointed with Ecuador last night, I have to say, guys. I thought they didn't defend well. They're renowned for their defending. None of that was there. They didn't attack. We know that they struggled to score goals. But I tell you what, Mexico had a bit of everything. There were 10 out of 10 performances all over that pitch yesterday. And I honestly think, if England do get through, which we expect them to get through, don't we, against DR Congo, I think it'll be a really tough game in Mexico City. That atmosphere is intimidating to any team at any time.
Let me ask about one player last night, because I do want to get onto that topic of how England would fare there. But you got to witness a wonderful event. You got to witness a wonderful atmosphere, a wonderful crowd. But you also, it feels like, got to witness the crowning of football's next superstar. Gilberto Mora last night was just unbelievable.
Incredible. 17 years, 259 days old. Second youngest player ever to start a World Cup knockout game. Obviously, the youngest player ever was the great Pelé. So you're in pretty good company if you're starting a knockout game at that sort of age. It was the maturity, guys, that he took to the field with, the fearlessness that he took to the field with, ability to take players on. He had no worries about going up against people like Pacho, who is a 2-time winning Champions League defender, Pierre Hincapié. We know the impact that he has made at Arsenal over the last season or so. This young kid has absolutely no fears or worries whatsoever. And to me, he typifies the Mexico approach. He actually said before the tournament started, we're one of the favourites to win this. And you watch them last night and you start to believe it. You leave the ground almost feeling like a Mexico fan. They draw you in so much.
See well, that's how it should be done. You see that? You got a 17-year-old kid talking about we're the favorites. Like that is embracing the Mexican identity of expecting more out of yourself than even their own people believe. Because Joe, going into this tournament, Mexican fans were a bit reluctant or hesitant in terms of jumping fully on board with this team, and they just needed a moment to give them some hope. And it felt like that South Africa game truly kicked it off, but we're seeing the end result of that, obviously, in terms of the celebrations that may be still ongoing in Mexico City, for all we know, that they are completely aligned with their national team right now.
Master, on that very point, just to say, I was listening to Joe's commentary in the build-up, and he said, like, with the lightning delay and everything, if it doesn't go well, you could imagine that crowd turning quite quickly. If you get to half-time and they're being stifled, actually, like, I don't know. Like, I felt like the way to go and beat them there might be to go, and it might be to defend, and it might be to, like, frustrate them and put the pressure back onto their shoulders. But, I don't know, everything I saw last night makes me think that that's never going to happen.
Honestly, the way that they performed last night, the crowd and the players were absolutely in sync, guys. And it was from not just minute one, it was from T-minus an hour before kickoff. In fact, there were people arriving at the ground. There were tens of thousands of people at the stadium when we arrived to bring in our kit and set up our commentary position. So we get there 4 or 5 hours before. There were tens of thousands of Mexican supporters waiting outside the gates to be let into the stadium. You know, this is a country and a city where football isn't just a pastime. Football isn't just something that they enjoy. It's an obsession. It's a way of life. Last night felt like a result for an entire nation. That's how big last night was. And, you know, regardless of how far they go in the tournament, regardless of whether they come up against England or whether it be DR Congo, you know, we have to say, who knows what will happen in the rounds to come. But what they will always have is last night, because as you guys said at the top, 40 years since they'd last won a knockout game, 40 long years. So there'll have been people in the stadium last night who won't remember that, won't even have been alive for when that happened, and they have something tangible to celebrate. And I think that is what last night was all about.
Joe, to go to your point about it being a religion in Mexico, the Metropolitan Cathedral in Mexico City has had a tradition since 1970 where they have a baby Jesus that they dress up in the exact attire of El Tri for each World Cup match. So depending on the match, if they're wearing the green kit, the baby Jesus will be wearing the green kit. If they're wearing the away white kit, the baby Jesus will be wearing the away white kit. And so it truly is, as you mentioned, there's a level of passion there that exists in Mexico that is hardly to be matched anywhere in the world.
And guys, what a kit it is, by the way. Mexico have this reputation for producing amazing shirts, and they deliver again and again and again, and they've done it this time as well. But I just also want to say you're absolutely spot on. And when I think about the Plaza Zocalo, which is the main square in the middle of Mexico City. It's where they set one of the Bond films. I think there was a scene in one of the Bond films there. Spectacular, kind of a triumph of architecture. That has been turned into the biggest World Cup fan zone that I have ever seen. It's got a giant television screen that's about as big as the buildings themselves, and it was absolutely packed with Mexico City fans. You couldn't move for Mexico supporters in that square last night. So I've got no doubt the atmosphere there will have been sensational. I mean, we, even at the hotel that we're staying, the hotel staff have all got Mexico shirts, and they're all wearing them, and they've all got their names on the back as well. So everybody is getting involved.
And listen, Flex is going to join us. He's in Mexico as well. He didn't get into the stadium last night. He's saving that for Sunday and hopefully for England as well. But he was at he was at the Plaza last night. He saw the action. So he's going to join us in about 10 or 15 minutes' time.
Wearing a Mexican shirt, wearing a Mexican bucket hat. What is this?
Yeah, we'll get into that. Don't worry. Joe, wonderful stuff from you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate it, Joe.
Enjoying your journey.
Thank you, guys.
Joe's going to be doing 3 round of 16 games for talkSPORT as well. It's so good. Like, honestly, wonderful commentator. So do keep checking out his fine work. Let's now turn our attention to the action in Atlanta tonight, the game that kicks off in just under 2.5 hours' time. And I'm delighted to say that joining us live from the bar that we talked about with Kev Egan on the show, the Irish Exit, just the other day, friend of the show, doing a wonderful job out there, Angelina Kelly.
Hello from Atlanta.
Listen to the vibes there already.
Oh, it is cracking.
It's like 9:30 in the morning. Kickoff's at 12. How up for it are the England fans in the city of Atlanta right now?
Can I just say from about 8:30 this morning, the queue to get into the Irish exit was absolutely insane. You've just missed the England band. We've had drums, we've had trumpets. There are so many England fans here, all decked out, ready to go, and they cannot wait for this one. It has been a little bit quiet in Atlanta overall compared to, I guess when you're comparing it to New York City, it is going to be a little bit quieter. But it seems like the fans have slowly started to arrive, and yeah, they're up for it today.
It's a lot more spread out.
Master, by the way.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look, hey, it's never too early to pregame for the USA match. But Angelina, Atlanta's a bit more spread out. But it has a great soccer culture, particularly in that area that you're in. I'm curious what the sentiment is among English fans leading up to this match. Are they expecting a win? Are they nervous? Do they think they might get upset? What's the sentiment you're seeing right now this morning?
Well, I tell you what, shall I get an England fan to come and chat to me, and we'll Come on in.
Let's go.
What is your name, sir?
Steve Connolly.
Right, talk to me. I know that we saw you yesterday in one of the pubs when we were working very hard, of course. But what are you feeling? What's the vibe been like in Atlanta, and how are you feeling ahead of this game?
Nervous with this game because I think Congo is just going to sit back like all the other teams have done, and we seem to struggle to get through that. If we can get an early goal, I think that would change their game plan, and they'll have to open up a bit more, which will then give our space and we can do our bits, if you know what I mean.
And how's it been in Atlanta? Because there were a lot of fans yesterday not too sure where to go or where the hub was, because the fan park only opened today.
Yeah, it was a bit weird in Atlanta because you got a lot of fans were scattered around downtown and we were up in Midtown, and it was just like little pockets. So you'd find 50 fans over there, and then not like this here. It was a bit weird, but in New York it was a lot different. There was loads of bars full of English fans. We got to New York 3 days before the game, and there was English everywhere. But here it seems to be, you bump into them every now and then on the train and stuff like that, and then you ask them, "Oh, where you guys go?" And they give you a bar, and then you go head towards it. There's only 20 people in there and things like that. You know what I mean?
But this bar is packed today, and I know you're a bit nervous, but it's coming home, isn't it? Come on.
It's definitely coming home. Oh yeah. 100%.
Well, there you go, guys. We've got a nervous yet confident England fan. So I guess that would
that's
be the
not
answer
convincing
to
enough,
the question,
Angelina.
nervous
That's not convincing enough. That's not convincing enough for me. I'm sorry. He sounds a bit nervy.
It's not convincing enough for the guys back home.
Was it not?
No, you sound a bit too nervy. Come on, it's coming home.
It's definitely coming home. It's coming home. We just need that early goal.
There you go. Early goal, and then it's coming home.
Angelina, just on your travels so far, I don't know if you've had a chance to go to that Atlanta stadium. It's funny, Master's right. I've been to Atlanta for Super Bowl and for NFL games, but I'll tell you, you get in the taxis, you speak to the locals. A lot of them aren't NFL fans, a lot of them are soccer fans, a lot of them are football fans. They hear an English accent and they want to talk to you about the Premier League. They want to talk to you about the national team. That's always been my vibe in the city. So I do hope the atmosphere picks up today. From your perspective, and you've been following and watching England this whole time, coming up against another team who are expected to be defensive, another team that will play low block, another team that will, try and frustrate England and hit them on the break. Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling like your journey's coming to an end today, or are you ready for this and you believe we're off to Mexico in a week's time?
Don't even try and talk to me about this journey coming to an end. I'm on my holidays. I'm having a great time. Come on. No, but to be honest, what you just touched on about the fans in Atlanta, we had a taxi driver who was a Mexico fan. He had a Mexico shirt on, but he was a QPR fan. So I'll let that sink in. That is the vibe of Atlanta. You will always find somebody who has got an English team, and they've been chatting to us in our masses. Our producer is a Spurs fan. People have been poking fun at him. We went into a bar. The guy actually recognised us all from talkSPORT. He was a huge fan. So there's definitely a football feeling in the city. But regarding today, I understand why people are nervous. I think that the first halves overall from England haven't been the most convincing. They've looked a little bit stop-start. So I think getting an early goal would definitely settle the nerves. Obviously the right back situation, but it seems like Declan Rice will be coming back into the midfield. That'll be nice to see. Obviously I'm a Man United fan. I'd love to see Kobe Mainoo in action, but I understand that there's a few people higher up the pecking order. But yeah, I don't think that this journey's coming to an end. I want to go to Mexico.
Listen, I was in Guadalajara. It was a great time. I know Flex is there right now. I hope you get the joys of experiencing a World Cup in Mexico. But talking about the midfield, I'm curious, do you think it's the right decision to go with Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson in the starting 11? If not, how do you think they should shape up, considering they're going to be facing another low block tonight or today?
It's an interesting interesting one, and like I say, I'd like to see Kobbie Mainoo in action. I do think that Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson are the right decision when it comes to the midfield, but I think overall, I know that there's going to be a low block, I know that's going to be difficult, but I just want to see them go for it a little bit more. We do have really talented wingers. Marcus Rashford, even though with Manchester United it didn't end that well, although that journey may be continuing, he is so talented. You've got someone like Bukayo Saka. I think Noni Madueke, as much as I think before I flew out we were giving him a bit of stick, he's been all right overall. I may have to take it back, but we've got great wingers, we've got great forwards.
It's okay, Angelina. I've been caping for Kobbie Mainoo as well. I think he's someone that can really unlock a low block with his creativity that I think a lot of people are underestimating, and he's shown it at Manchester United. I think he deserves a chance if England starts to struggle here and can't break down DR Congo. I'm right there with you.
I agree. I mean, he started a Euros final. I think that says it all, doesn't it?
I do. Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. Angelina, just one kind of final one from me because you did bring it up. Kobbie Mainoo. We don't know who's going to be pairing him in that Man United midfield this year. We've heard from Alex Crook on this subject already. You miss out on Matis Fernandes. He ends up at Tottenham. You decide you're not going to go to what they're willing to pay. Were you happy with Man United's approach to that piece of business? Are you in any way concerned that with, barely over, 6 weeks until the Premier League season starts, that midfield still doesn't really have a partner for Kobbie Mainoo?
I'm always concerned as a Manchester United fan, and like I say, my producer is a Spurs fan, so we've been scrapping behind the scenes over all of this transfer business. Of course it's a bit concerning, but one thing I will say, as much as there are a lot of issues with Ineos and Co, since they've come in they have been getting the recruitment right. Most of the signings have been a success, so maybe there is a reason behind it. I understand the financial aspects of it. It was Elliot Anderson that really disappointed me. I was delusional enough to sit on your show and say that of course he'd want to play for Manchester United over Manchester City. Seemingly not meant to be, but yeah, a little bit concerned because Casemiro's going to leave such a gap, and you want someone really reliable, really strong to be linking up with Kobbie Mainoo and get that kind of perfect combination. So yeah, a little bit worried.
Angelina.
Final score.
Yeah.
Final score from us. What you got? How you think this plays out?
For today, oh, don't do this to me. I'm going to go 2-0 win to England. Come on.
2-0.
That's exactly what I just threw up, Angelina. I have no idea if you can see us back in the studio or not. I'm sure the text out there is wonderful, but we're both looking resplendent in our shirts, as always, of course. So listen, Angelina Kelly, wonderful stuff from you.
Have a blast. Great city, Atlanta. Enjoy Atlanta. One of my favorite cities in America.
Wonderful thing to see. Flex is going to be joining us up shortly from Mexico. Oh, the vibes in that bar as we cut in and Manor Street Preachers was playing and the fans were there. And I know, it was a little sparse in the background compared to what it's been. That's because all the Englishmen are there at the bar. I tell you that for nothing.
Well, I mean,
2.5
also it's
hours
probably because it's probably humid as heck right now in Atlanta, even though it's only 9:30, and those poor Englishmen are inside trying to make sure that they're properly hydrated.
AC, bring me AC, bring me hydration.
What is aircon? What is this?
Oh.
What a great invention!
Wait until they experience what it's like to be in an aircon stadium. I mean, I know we've had AT&T already on this journey, but another one there in Atlanta.
Mercedes-Benz is going to be, I'm sure it's going to blow their mind going to that stadium. But Will, how are you feeling, Will? We got to check in on you, okay? You checked in on me. You asked me about USA.
Been deflecting the whole show.
Let me. Yeah, I know you have. Yeah, passively. And we got to get 3 minutes before the segment ends, cuz Will, it's your time now. How are you feeling, buddy?
I am feeling completely fine. And that right now is a nice level place to be. I'm not. The fact is that we've had to watch two frustrating performances against two teams that do play in that low block, two teams that are looking to frustrate us and hit us on the break. And if I'm going to give Congo some respect, I have some concerns over, I think Jed Spence offers something more attacking, and when Tuchel wants to set up and play that 3-1-6 and try and overload them and try and break down that low block, he is going to offer something more on the outside. He's going to overlap Saka, who can then cut in. I think that's a really positive and exciting thing. But they are much better in terms of quality on the break than the last two teams we've faced. They are a much stronger team. And if they get the 2 chances that Ghana had or the 2 chances that Panama had, I fancy them to score in this game, which... we had goals against Croatia, but we have had clean sheets in the last 2, and that has been a positive to draw. Penalties not given besides.
And a penalty that was not called. Come on.
Terrible decision. I'm saying that. There's no excuses for me. It's very much a hands up and... But listen, overall, England clearly has the quality to win this game. I still do believe and trust in Thomas Tuchel. I do think they will set up to make this the England performance that we need it to be, which is an early goal is absolute key. I do think we have the advantage at set pieces, which is going to be an area of positivity for us. And I do think if you watch the way that Congo played, particularly against Portugal, if you do overload and flood that box, if you do have Harry Kane peeling off to the back post and runs in from Jude Bellingham and runs in from whether it's Morgan Rogers or where they switch to the double pivot again, whatever that looks like, I really do think that Congo will defend incredibly resolutely. I actually don't think defensively they are as good as Ghana were. So I think we're kind of somewhere in between the two. They're better going forward, but they're not as strong defensively. And so I'm similar to the England fan that joined us. If we get an early goal, first 15, 20 minutes, I'll breathe a sigh of relief. I'll pour another drink. I'll get myself another round of wings and I'll just sit and I'll enjoy the rest of the game. My concern is if it gets to like 60, 65 minutes again, it's still 0-0. We've seen it in the last two. That's when I'll start to sweat a little bit. That's when I'll start to get a little bit concerned. I think England do win this game. I had 2-0 earlier. I did just say I fancy Congo to score, though, so maybe a 2-1 or a 3-1 if they do. But I think England do get through this. You just gave 3
scores.
Yeah. Well, you haven't asked me yet. That's not my final prediction. It's like final answer. It's like, it's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm just pontificating. I'm just discussing.
When Angelina was on, you were giving 2-0. Now it's 2-1. Now it's 3-1. Give me an answer, Will. Don't pull a Goldberg on me, all right? Give me an answer. Be direct.
2-0 England. Unlike the previous games, England score a little bit earlier, relieve the pressure, relieve the fears, and then grab one in the second half. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Keep calm. Trust Thomas Tuchel. Trust these teams. Trust these players. There are tougher tests down the road. If we have to go to Mexico City in the Azteca, which we do if we win tonight, that's something to be worried about. That's something where the palms are going to get sweaty because, wow, that was amazing last night. But right now, I respect Congo. I appreciate what they've done to achieve to get here. England are a better team. They will win tonight. They will advance. And you can play this tomorrow if we don't. And you can play the laughter track and you can take the mick out of me. There we go.
And listen, if it doesn't happen, just remember, I cannot wait to show you what I have in store for you tomorrow. Sam,
I will drink a bucket of your tears.
Yes, I would drink your tears.
He's aware we can just disconnect him, right? I'll just do the show on my own.
No,
it would just be me crying.
No. It would be me just singing. They're going home. They're going home. They're going. England's going home. They're going
if we lose tonight,
home.
I'm supporting Mexico the rest of the way. I'm getting the shirt. Viva la Mexico!
Look at you. You're already hedging. You're already hedging. What is this?
Baby. That is how we do. Talking of a man that was hedging last night, because he's already in his Mexico kit and his Mexico bucket hat. The wonderful
I don't think he's taking it off.
He's joining the show. Up next, live from Mexico, you're watching the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi.
From kickoff to the full-time whistle,
talkSPORT presents
the S Word.
for people who love football in North America. And I mean the proper kind, where you only use your feet.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.
Yeah, back with the S Word here on talkSPORT. Sorry about that. We came back slightly quicker than I thought. You just got me sniffing on camera. I apologise. You are back with the S Word on talkSPORT, sponsored by Kalshi. I'm Will Gavin. The great master Tesfatsian is live out in Los Angeles, California. As we're building up now, we look back at last night. Le Bleu, Magnifique, Norway, through and a threat. Mexico, oh, that's a terrifying one. And as much as we're talking about USMNT tonight, as much as we're talking about England tonight, let's talk about the action in Mexico last night. And let's head to not just Mexico, but Flexico City, because the wonderful Flex joins us live from there right now. Flex, how are you, brother?
This is great stuff, Will. This is a great way to recover from that sneeze. I like that. This is redemption.
Hey, I see you got your England kit on.
I now have to leave that in the podcast. I was going to cut that out, and you're a ridiculous man.
Yeah, look, you switched out finally. I thought you were gonna walk in with your Mexico shirt, with your Mexico bucket hat. You playing both sides here. You playing, my brother. You playing both sides here. I saw that on social media. I didn't know how I felt about that, bro.
Here's the thing, right? I've been very clear in the rules about how this is going to go, okay? So we're out here in Mexico City. Immerse yourself completely within the culture. Understand what it's like for these Mexicans. Understand what Mexico City is all about. And, immerse yourself in the vibe. This is the World Cup. This is what we do, right? We create content. We explore the world. We embrace loads of different cultures of football. I very, very quickly realized, and we have to talk about England and DR. That's the main thing. Round the corner after that, there's some serious stuff going on here. These Mexicans are not playing. Not that we know about the team. We're going to talk about the game. The fans out here are insane. I was at the FIFA Watch Park. Master, you've spoken so greatly about these watch parks that are, dotted around in Canada, of course, and the States, and of course here. There was over 125,000 people at the watch park, and then they went down to I can't remember the name of the place, but we didn't go there because we were just so tired afterwards. And then there was another 1 million people down there where they celebrate after all the big wins and stuff like that. And it is insane. And I was Mexicaned up. I had the shirt, the bucket hat, exactly. Master's right. And then as soon as that final whistle went, I went, right, this is Project England now. We got a serious job to do. I'm finished with those Mexico stuff. I'm going to leave them packed away in the drawer for another day because we have to be serious. This is going to be a very tough game. Should we even get to face them, because we have the small matter of DR Congo.
Will, sorry, go on, Master.
Listen. Flex, there may be a scenario where this may be your last time wearing that England kit in Mexico City, buddy. If I were you, I'd keep that Mexican shirt on, that bucket hat, buddy, because I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go down today, buddy.
Well, listen, I've got two options. It's fine. I mean, I'm here on the premise that we will be playing Mexico, in the Azteca Stadium, okay? Because, I'm a positive England fan, and I believe that we're going to get there. However, if we don't, I'm still here, going to have a great time, and I've still got the right equipment to do so, should England get knocked out.
Look at y'all hedging. Look at your head. Will is hedging.
I'm good either way.
Will, put your sombrero back on. Look, you guys are just hedging already.
Whoa.
You guys are... Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Vamos, Mexico.
You guys are hedging.
Flex,
I thought this was the England prowess.
I'm not having it at all from Master, by the way. Flex, I'm not having it at all.
Where's he go?
Where did
Flex go?
I know where he's going. I know exactly where he's going.
Going?
I'm not blaming Flex at all. I think if you're in Mexico, you're embracing.
Oh, he's got a Mexican flag. Flex pulled out the Mexican flag in his hotel room.
Honestly, it's incredible here, man. It's incredible here. You can't hate. Hey, honestly, they just suck you in, bro. It's incredible. Like the people. Do you know what I have to say? That the Mexican people that we've met, they're so football crazy, and this was before they even played last night against Ecuador, and they were saying, listen, you're in our country, so we respect you, you know. But Azteca, we'll see you there. We're not scared, this, that, and the other. But they're amazing people. And when you actually see how football mad they are, I know we know this about Mexico, right? But as all things, it's not until you literally go to places and be on the ground and connect with people in person to really feel this energy that they have. I was watching that game in the fan park last night with Ecuador and Mexico, right? And I swear to you, every time I turned away to just look at something else other than the game, to talk to a friend or, you know, look at the crowd and stuff, the commentating was so, obviously I don't understand Spanish, but like they get so excited just with the ball being in the final third. It feels like there is a goal about to happen every time they go forward. And I'm thinking, this is what it's like here. If England have to play these guys in the Azteca, it was incredible. And Mexico last night against Ecuador, man, that first half, geez, they just run up on Ecuador. Physical, powerful, strong, even missed chances. Raul Jimenez, mate, I forgot this guy's he's just gone to Wolves. He's going to be playing the championship. He's a hero here. It's crazy. And there's a lot of teams who ain't going to want that smoke. I'll be honest.
Look, it's a wonderful thing to hear about how wonderful it was there. But you talk about this England team. Alex Crook bringing us a little bit of live breaking news as we're on the show with just a few minutes left. Kick off in just over 2 hours' time. Starting on the wings for England tonight. Marcus Rashford, Noni Madueke. How are we feeling? No Saka starting. Rashford is starting. How are we feeling about that one, Flex?
Well, the first thing is that there has to be a recurrence or something slowing Bukayo Saka down with this injury, right? Because the notion is that we knew he came here injured, and all the Arsenal fans will tell us all about it. He's been nursing this Achilles injury. He's played an awful lot of football, and he's had an in and out season because of injuries, right? So he had to be managed. So I was never in this camp of, oh, why is Noni Madueke starting? It's a travesty, it's this, that. I understand why he's starting. We're trying to play Saka into fitness. And then for the latter stages, i.e. now, he should be fit. So the only reason I can think that he is not starting this game is because he's not quite ready. And listen, we've got injuries already, some injuries that naively we could have maybe seen come in and we probably should have been better prepared for. So we can't take any chances on anybody else. And to be fair to Noni Madueke, listen, he gets a rough ride, he gets a tough time. I understand his limitations and I understand what he's decent at. And he's been okay. He's direct. You know what you're going to get with him. He's going to engage defenders. Yes, he may not always pick the final action to be the correct action. But he's doing okay, and he's gonna have to play well.
One other thing to note as well with that is that the possibility of extras and potentially penalties as well. Do you want Saka to come on in the 70th minute in a game that could be cagey, could go to extras, could go to penalties? You want Bukayo to come on maybe in the 70th, 80th minute if it is a tight game. You want him in extras, and despite the perception that still exists from the Euros, Saka's come good ever since on pens. You want him on pins. So I would think that has something to do with the strategy as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm quite old school in terms of like in tournament football, like you play the best players. Like I know in Premier League at club level, 38 games, you look at the impact of guys off the bench and this, that, and the other. At tournament level, especially knockouts, if you can start your best team, you always start them, right?
But if they're not fit, I think you have to account for that fact. Yeah, you have to account for that fact.
100%. I've got no problem. It's going to be great to see Bukayo Saka come off the bench for 20, 25 minutes. Hopefully, with Noni Madueke doing a great job against the DR Congo left back. And he's then got nightmares going, I've just had to deal with Noni Madueke running at me for 65, 70 minutes. And now I've got Bukayo Saka coming onto the pitch. Very similar against Czech Republic. We saw the impact that the substitutions had in that game, and we need to re-enter it onto. That's why we have this plethora of options at the top end of the pitch.
And look, it's great that we're playing in an air-conditioned stadium today, but the fact is the conditions at this World Cup are tough. It's an extra game to this World Cup. I talked about this earlier when we talked about this France team, but the fact is that they look more rested. They're not having to work as hard. That's only going to help them as the tournament goes on. Right now, if you're telling me that Saka is 80%, and you're thinking, well, Madueke will do a job for us against Congo if we can hold Saka. If we get an early goal, if we beat Congo 2-0, if we don't even have to use Saka, and then against Mexico he's fully fit, give me that all day long.
Yeah, it's about squad management, right? It is about squad management, especially because we've been missing players already through injury. Look, on paper, and football isn't played on paper, but on paper, England should have enough to beat the DR Congo. We can't take it for granted. We can't assume it's going to be an easy game. That doesn't exist in this World Cup. We've seen from many nations that there is no such thing as an easy game at this World Cup. I've learned that the hard way as well, and I'm definitely not going to take that sort of naivety into England facing the DR today. However, I saw Thomas Tuchel say now is not the time to sort of expect big performances of this, that, and the other. And people could see that as a bit of a negative and stuff, but it is just about getting through. It really is. This isn't the time to say, I want to be able to look like France whilst winning. Just win. This thing is hard. This is intense. This is difficult. And we have a lot of players that can come in and make changes and make a difference. So the fact that Saka is not starting, like I said, if he was fit enough, of course, you always start him. I wouldn't have Saka as some sort of super sub. You start Bukayo Saka. He's been one of England's most consistent players over the last couple of tournaments. And actually, people haven't given him enough respect of how good he's actually been for England. There's been times when Harry Kane's supposed to be delivering. We know about Jude Bellingham as well. Rashford's been up and down on the left-hand side. But, a constant has actually been Bukayo Saka. So I want him in this team wherever possible. But we have to manage the load. And I got no problem with using the squad depth that we've got. We've got the options.
I remember, I think it was last time I was in the studio was a month ago? I think it was with you guys. And we were talking about Jet Spence and we were talking about Noni Madueke and the concerns if we have to start him in a big match. And now this right side is literally going to be those two starting. It feels like your worst nightmare.
Listen, Master. The really positive news from yesterday is Reece James is back out on the grass training. Thomas Tuchel has said this game was too soon for him, but he would expect him to start if we got to the next game of the tournament. That Jed Spence fills in fine in this position. That Noni Madueke has been better than he was ever before in an England shirt over a couple of games here. Still, the final product is an issue, but he's direct and that can be good against a low block. I'm fine with it. I'm not saying it's my favourite. I'm not saying it's what I want from this team, but I think it's enough to beat the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's what I truly believe. Now, Flex, I need to know.
Reece James will have a lot of time to rest. Don't worry. He'll have a lot of time to rest after this match. Don't worry. There's no issue with that whatsoever. He'll get the rest up all he wants to. He'll be in a beast.
This host City thing's got to him. This home advantage got to him.
Hasn't it just? Flex, talk to me about where you're watching the game.
You guys are Mexican fans. What are we talking about
here? Where are you watching the game tonight? Is there an England watch party? Is there somewhere that you're going to be able to get amongst other English fans?
Right. So I thought about this while I was immersed and surrounded by Mexicans yesterday at the fan park. So the fan park is incredible. We were there the day before for Brazil against Japan as well, and the Germany game too. It's incredible. The facilities that are there, the entertainment, and obviously all the huge screens that are around. So we're going to be watching this game right at the same place, right? And I was saying to some of the guys, I was like, are we gonna be? We'll be all right, right? We can wear our.
The good news is
you'll be good.
The good news is you're not the Germany fans who are flying into New York and finding out their team had been knocked out as they were arriving ready for their round of 16 games. You're not quite those guys yet.
But that's crazy. Yeah, that's incredible.
It's going to be absolutely.
I watched England Ghana at Guadalajara. I watched England Ghana Guadalajara at the Fan Fest there, and I promise you'll be fine. The Mexican supporters there, when it's a neutral game. If anything, they probably want to root for England because they want
they want to make space.
They want that smoke.
I truly think that I think they'll be on your side. And what you'll hear is England, hermano, ya eres mexicano. You're going to hear that probably all throughout the day.
And then we're going to practice that ready to do the opposite on Sunday if they face the Congo. Yeah. Flex, wonderful stuff from you. We are out of time, but we could chat to you for hours. I know you're on the show Saturday and Sunday, live hosting, co-hosting. So we look forward to that, Master.
If we go out, I'm not coming on. I'm just letting you know now.
Yes, you. I will single-handedly. I will go to Mexico City and point a camera directly at you to make sure that you are on for those 2 hours.
If we go out, you'll see this other guy in Mexican attire called Flequinino. That's what you're going to see.
Flex Mexico.
Flexico in Mexico. Brilliant stuff from you, Master. Good luck to the USMNT tonight. Good luck to England.
Good luck to you too as well.
Great games coming up tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on the S Word.
Huge show tomorrow.
Calci. Check us out everywhere. Huge show tomorrow. Live from 8 a.m. Eastern. Peace.
Big name reaction from both sides of the pond.
The S Word
from talkSPORT.